What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, host of the Philly Talk podcast, and we are back. I had Dave Spadaro on before the Lions game, and we were 0-0. We were really excited about this team, and now 7 weeks later, we're still undefeated with one more day until the trade deadline. Howie already surprised us once with Robert Quinn. We're going to talk about everything. How you feeling, Dave Spadaro?
Mike, good to see you again. Feeling great. Really short week here with the Houston Texans on Thursday. That's kind of the focus. I have no idea whether Howie's going to make a trade or not. I never put anything past him. I'm never surprised. But yeah, we were excited for a reason. Obviously, it's a pretty darn good football team.
Yeah, we saw the debut of Robert Quinn. Don't really know the snap count yet. That probably will come out today, or probably did. I just haven't got to look at it. But the team played one of its more complete games, I think, when you look at what we were able to do via the run, via the pass, 2 turnovers, Hargrave sticking it to his old team, had one of his better games of the early season. Miles Sanders in the second half, big runs, sticking it to his hometown team. How did you feel about the overall performance off of bye week?
Yeah, I mean, like a Steelers can surprise you with some things they do defensively. They'll run some gimmicks, they'll bring a lot of blitzes, etc. But by and large, nothing really threatens you from the Steelers at this point with a rookie quarterback. Good receivers. Um, like you said, it was one of the better games they played. It was a strong game. Robert Quinn played 20 snaps. Um, the Eagles scored in every quarter. They took the football away twice. They sacked Pickens 6 times. Jalen Hurts was on point. AJ Brown was awesome. So it's just another way to win. And I just think what's great about this football team is every single game, it's kind of been a little bit different, the way that they've won. And I mean, look, Mike, it's just, it's a really good team. And this team is deep. It's talented. You see when you play those lower teams, sometimes you go, geez, the Eagles, I hope they don't keep that team around. They left no doubt on Sunday that they were the better team, and they put the Pittsburgh Steelers away. They were able to rest their regulars in the fourth quarter for this short week. So I thought it was great. I thought, it was a lesser opponent, but it was their best performance, 60-minute performance, all in all for the season.
Yeah, and we've seen it throughout the NFL season this year and other years. I mean, the Chiefs' only loss is to the Colts, who is not a good football team. And to come off a bye, I like and credit y'all social media team because y'all been on point this whole season. And I like the video that came out with Nick Sirianni telling the guys about all the teams that came off byes, feeling themselves 7-1. Saints got beat by the 2-6 Giants back in 2021 or whatever. And so I felt like this team is very locked in, and you can see it coming off a bye, still looking locked in. Now, let me just go back to when we first talked before the Lions game. Did you see us being undefeated, or at least not just the record wise, but this team buying in and being this dominant throughout its wins and throughout the season so far?
Yeah. Yeah. Thought we were a good team. I really don't think about undefeated, but once I saw them in training camp and I saw how good AJ Brown was and how much he raised the level of the offensive line really good, getting CJ Gardner-Johnson huge, James Bradbury, it took about a minute to see how good he was. Yeah, I mean, I knew it was a good football team. What I didn't know was that they would handle Minnesota as easily as they did, that the Steelers would be such a down team, that the Cowboys wouldn't have Dak Prescott, that Washington would have a disaster and Carson Wentz at quarterback. But yeah, I thought the Eagles were really good coming in. You know how I am, Mike. I don't ever go look ahead. I just I just kind of take it day by day. But I did have a really good feeling. I thought the key was going to be how quickly the defense could come together, and they've really gotten things going much faster than I thought. And I felt the offense would be good, coming back intact, and then adding AJ Brown. So I think, Mike, the general thought was, going into the season was that Howie put all these pieces around Jalen Hurts, and that it would be up to the quarterback to see how far Jalen could take this team. So I don't think anybody who says that the Eagles snuck up on them, it's fair because we all saw what Howie did in the offseason and the talent that arrived in Philly via the draft, via trade, etc., via free agency. And Jalen has taken his game to another level. So this is right now by far the best team in the NFC.
Yeah, I agree. And the team that we beat, a lot of people, national media, social medias, Twitter, and all that, the Eagles haven't beat anybody. That Minnesota win, whether you want to say Kirk Cousins' prime time, was big because they sit at number 2 in the NFC thus far through 7 weeks. And listen, no matter, we do got you on films when we last talked, saying your offensive player for week 1 was AJ Brown, and oh boy did he have a debut. He just kind of matched that debut against the Steelers, coming in the first game 155 yards and now 156 yards, 3 touchdowns. But I got your offense and defensive player, and you went right to AJ Brown. You said the things I'm seeing in practice, right? And it was crazy. The things you described in that kind of preview video for the Lions, he displayed against the Lions, and he's been doing that all season. So you definitely were saying the things that we already now see through
Yeah,
7 weeks.
he's so strong. He just separates with the body. He's so great after the catch. He's got great hands. I mean, he had a couple drops on Sunday against the Steelers, and when I talked to him in the locker room, he was like really unhappy about that, and felt that he could have gotten so much more, which is actually true. He could have had darn near 200 yards receiving. But yeah, I mean, he's a different kind of player. He's a beast, and he has helped raise the level of this offense. I mean, it's such a hard offense to defend against. They run the ball well. Jalen can run the ball. Jalen really hasn't even had to run the ball very much of late. So, and it was cool on Sunday watching them tear the Steelers apart, as you said, in the pass game early, and then gash them in the run game late. And I mean, we could see the same thing on Thursday night against a Texans team that just gave up over 200 yards to Derrick Henry. So let's keep it going here and stay healthy, and week by week just keep piling up the victories. And anything's possible here in the NFC.
Yeah, speaking of staying healthy, do we have any update on, or do you have any update on Jordan Davis? Last I thought was a ankle sprain, I believe.
Yeah, well, we're waiting just a little bit here. Nick Sirianni will meet the media and he will address the injury situation. But he left the locker room last night with crutches and a walking cast and or walking boot, and so hopefully it's not a long term thing. And look, the Eagles have 5 defensive tackles for a reason, and hopefully he gets back soon and keeps becoming keeps improving his play.
Yeah, I like the rotation to the D line. BG actually got a sack that was negated by a hole, but he was playing inside too. So, BG is definitely versatile. You got Milton Williams in there. Hey, I think that Marlon T, I won't dare try to say his last name because
Tui Pelotu.
there you go. Thank you. Because
Yeah,
they come at me all the time. I can never say, and I say a different name every time. So I don't know why I just
yeah.
can't sit down and
I
learn
was
that
with you.
name.
It took me a while for me to get that. I didn't get that till about week 4.
But now him coming out and getting a couple sacks, I'm gonna have to make it a point to
He's
learn
good.
that name.
He's a really good player, and they've played Fletcher Cox on the edge. They've moved Sweaty from one side to the other. They bring uh, Graham inside, which they've done in the past in the nickel. Robert Quinn will get used to it and probably move around. Hassan Reddick moves all the way around the line of scrimmage. Very hard to get a gauge. This defense now has 4 really good pass rushers. They can blitz. They can beat you with 4 men. They can beat you with 5 men. They can stop the run. They can cover on the back end. They're taking the football away. Um, Jonathan Gannon, we give Jonathan Gannon a few more players, and look what he does with that defense.
Yeah, it's been again when you can win the takeaway battle, and credit the offense too for taking care of it. What is it now? Plus 14 in that category, 16 total takeaways, plus 14. That is the staple of football. Just doing what you need to do the right way. It doesn't gotta always be spectacularly pretty, even though AJ Brown made it pretty pretty on Sunday. But I like the fact, like you said, 9 minutes into the game, and we are resting our starters, especially with this Texans matchup. And this is a game where you come in there short week, things can happen. So you just got to be locked in 100%. I agree. Just to discuss the trade deadline. I was saying before the Robert Quinn thing, when the rumors, and a lot of rumors go around on social media, and we got to discuss them on this channel and stuff because I get my inbox filled with them. Um, Pass rusher, safety, running back. Before Robert Quinn, I said to myself, if a move is made, I believe it should be with the pass rusher. My areas was pass rusher, and I did say running back safety, but I think safety depth would be more important. I think the running back room to me is legit, and Kenny G don't get enough credit for what he does. Boston Scott can carry the load, and I think if Trey Sermon was ever asked to do something, I'd feel comfortable. I'm a little nervous behind the secondary depth behind CJ Gardner-Johnson and Marcus Epps, who's been playing. He almost had a pick. I was rooting for him because he's the lone guy in the secondary without a pick, and he had it. Next time it touches his hands, I believe he's going to get that one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, talking about the trade, I don't know what Howie's going to do. I mean, the Eagles have assets; they'll have opportunities. We have now, as you and I speak, we have 23 hours and 45 minutes until the trade deadline. So, but I never count Howie out, and we'll see. I thought Robert Quinn was a really strong move. Um, I think he'll pay off big time. You need depth there. You need pass rushers. He's experienced. He's in shape. He's healthy. Knock on wood. And all of these, he's been durable. Great production last year. 18 and a half sacks. I thought he played okay on Sunday. All things considered, he'll get better and better. And we'll see what he does. We'll see how he does. I mean, look, the Eagles know they're a good team. They know they understand the opportunity that is in front of them. The way you look at it is you go, is there a spot on the roster that I can improve? Let's see what's out there. I mean, Howie's always listening. Howie's always got his ear to the ground. He always knows what's going on. So, stay close to your computer, stay close to your phone. Who knows what's going to happen in the next 23 hours and now 44 minutes.
Yeah, and like you said, when you have a GM like Howie Roseman, you got to pay attention to that. And then that's what I love. He's very, very. And my thing is this: he does so much, and you can see how, like, just from this new regime and building this team and being able to acquire all these picks, the domino effect, how things fell, even going back to Devontae Smith, moving around the board to go up and down, playing shoots and ladders. And when you watch it fall out, you're like, I mean, either he's the luckiest man or he's such a great game planner for not just the here and now, but the future. And that's why being an Eagle fan is at this part of the time is great. And actually, the Phillies are doing good stuff too. I don't know how you are with watching the World Series, but I
Great.
think Game 3's tonight.
Oh yeah, I'm totally into the whole thing. I'm into the Philadelphia Union. I'm into the Sixers. I'm into the Flyers. I love it all. And being down here in South Philly, it's crazy. It's wild living in Center City. Everybody's walking around in Phillies gear, Eagles gear. People are nicer to each other. It's a huge economic impact for the city. Sports means a lot, Mike, as we know, and in every way. So, and as far as Howie goes, the key is every asset means something. Every roster spot means something. Every practice squad spot means something. Your emergency list is really important. Having a bit of a vision into the next 2 or 3 years is really important. Understanding the landscape of the salary cap is super important. So um, the Eagles are sitting pretty, and again, if they want to make a move, I'm sure that GMs around the league who want to move players are looking at the Eagles and going, they've got extra draft picks. That's a team that we really need to do with a GM who likes to make things happen.
Yeah, I said jokingly that if Howie calls another GM, if I'm that other GM, I'm letting it go to voicemail and hearing his spiel on the answer machine, so I have some time to think about it. Because Howie's a quick talker, and I don't want him to. He's been able to get some fleeces, as we say on our end. But
Well,
looking
I
around,
mean, wait. I wouldn't say that for sure. Like, the Bears are going nowhere, so they get a fourth round pick for Robert Quinn. The Saints weren't going to sign C.J. Gardner-Johnson, so they get a draft pick for him. Tennessee got a first round pick for a player that was in a contract situation. So the other teams are getting strong assets back. Then it's up to them whether they are using them or not. I don't think Howie wants to be in the business of fleecing other teams or being known as a guy who fleeces other teams, or they won't make deals with him.
no, I agree, and to your point, the CJ Garner Johnson was a leverage move because the Saints don't really have the backbone to ask for too much because of the contract negotiations there as well. So what I'm saying is, on our end, we say it like this, but he's a strong negotiator in the sense that he realizes the situation of a CJ Gardner-Johnson, and it's like the Saints are going to get a 5th or 6th round pick. It's better than him walking for nothing. So Saints organization's like, hey, last minute we got something. But on our end, we're looking at it as like we got almost a Pro Bowl safety for that price. So in the end, like when a deal's being done, you don't know who wins it or at what and that. And it doesn't really matter who wins it as long as Philadelphia is excited and happy with what we got so far.
Right.
And if you look at the 1st round receiver that the Titans got compared to AJ Brown, you look
No
at the
doubt.
5th round, 6th round pick compared to 4 interceptions, leads the team CJ Gardner-Johnson, and he got a sack against Pittsburgh. So like I said, the word fleece to us is just like at the end of the day, Howie has not made a move so far in the last 2 years that we thought it was bad, and now it's so far paying off and flowers everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, he's not going to hit on all of them, but look, I mean, like the Detroit Lions for the Darius Slay move, they got themselves among their draft picks a really good young offensive lineman, Jonas Jackson, I believe his name is, and he was playing really well. And the Lions were kind of like really happy with that trade. And then I think Jackson's been hurt. The Lions are a disaster. So you go, oh wow, how he fleeced the Detroit Lions. Well, they got two draft picks for him. So
Yeah.
They're just not, those teams just aren't using those assets well. And the way that Howie's been able to accumulate draft picks to then use them in trades, it's been brilliant strategy. And what's key, Mike, they're just not good players. They're really good character people, and they fit into the schemes, and
Mhm.
that's really important.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's bought in. Like you said, CJ's been a guy that we hear vocal stuff in the locker room, and his play on the field is as good as his play off the field. I mean, sitting at 7-0 is 7-0. Looking across the landscape before we get out of here of the NFC East, the Giants finally lose to the Seattle Seahawks, who look to be like, something in the NFC, a surprising team with, the departure of Russell Wilson. If you had to say right now, just, the eye test, Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants. Now that Prescott's back, who do you think is the biggest threat to the Eagles?
Without a doubt, the Dallas Cowboys. The Giants, I think, are on such a slim margin that we saw on Sunday. They lose 2 punts, and they're kaplooey. They've lost their margin. I think the Cowboys are a good team, solid team. Offense is solid. Defense is very good. They will be there at the end for the Philadelphia Eagles to match up against. Hopefully, the Eagles keep winning here, and then that those late season games may not mean as much. But I would not be surprised to see the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. And if that's the case, they'll be a very tough team to beat. It'll take a great performance by the Eagles, who I think are the better team. But the next time the teams meet, we'll see the health situation and all. But I like what the Giants have done, restoring some respect and some normalcy to their franchise. I just don't. I think it's hard to win when your quarterback doesn't throw the ball in the fourth quarter.
Yep. At the end of the day, Daniel Jones, he could only run so much, and running does pay off in the later games, in the later part of the season with it being cold and whatnot. But you still got to make some of the throws. I agree with you. I still think Dallas is the biggest concern, and we'll see what happens. The crazy thing is with the extra wild card spot and the fact that Tampa, Green Bay, the NFC looking really bad. I think with Washington winning 2 in a row, if the playoffs started today, it might be the whole NFC East in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, I mean, I look big picture, so I'm going to look at Minnesota, good team, San Francisco, good team, Dallas, good team. And if you had said to me, Mike, at the beginning of the season that my 3 teams I got to worry about are Jimmy Garoppolo, quarterback, Kirk Cousins, quarterback, Dak Prescott, quarterback, no Tom Brady, no Matt Stafford, no Aaron Rodgers, I'll take that.
Yeah,
I'll take
I
that.
agree.
Seattle, not Geno Smith, bring it on. But I look at the quarterbacks, and the way this NFC is shaped up, it's been very surprising to see some of the really good teams, the Packers, the Bucks, the way they've fallen off.
Yeah, and soon rather than later, with the performances that Jalen Hurts keeps stacking up, when other teams talk about the Eagles, one of the first things they're going to mention is that quarterback because he's been playing at an elite level. Touchdowns are touchdowns, whether they're rushing or passing. They all count as 6, and he's now accounted for 16, I believe.
Yeah, he's been great, and on the ground, they've been churning it up, and he's part of that. The Texans on Thursday night are going to have a really, really hard time with a young roster preparing for this running game. They just got trucked by Derrick Henry. So, I was so happy the way that Jalen handled the blitz on Sunday. I think that's the next step for him. Against Arizona, a bit of a struggle offensively. Against Dallas, a bit of a struggle in the pass game. Against teams that like to bring pressure. Pittsburgh did the same thing. Eagles blocked it up well. Jalen made the pay for it. Let's keep it going here and keep taking one step above. And he's so critical of himself that I have no doubt that he will do that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Once again, shout out to Dave Spadaro. Go check out all his work at the Eagles Insider Podcast. Great stuff. I mean, he breaks it down really, really good. You got anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, Mike, thanks for having me on, and thanks to all the Eagles fans. It's been a really fun season so far. I know everybody's loving what's going on in Philly, but let's keep that positive energy going. Eagles have a long way to go here. Let's keep it going, man. It's only going to get better and better for this football team. I really think that. I think with all of these new faces, the more that they get acclimated to what JG's doing on defense, man, if the Eagles can stay healthy, we're going to have a fun January and February.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Until next time, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. We are out. Peace.
Peace. Go Birds.